This happened to me not long ago. My friend and I have always had deep conversations about if God or Satan is real and so on. Well, one night I was talking to her about guardian angels and how we both don't believe in them because of what we've done in life. I believe I don't deserve to be watched over because of the things I've done in my life and how I've sinned like crazy. One night I was sleeping in my bed. I don't remember if I woke up or not, but my mouth was extremely dry and I went to get some soda because I hardly drink water at all. I hate the taste. Well, as I was in the kitchen getting us some soda, I saw a man standing on the counter and supporting himself up against the cabinets and wall. I stared in awe at him. He was beautiful, a perfect face, beautiful eyes, and his hair was flaming red and combed over to the side. He also had these big, black, beautiful wings. He looked at me and smiled and said, "Don't ever stop believing. I'll be watching over you." The next thing I knew, I was awake in my bed with a glass of soda next to me. I've never been one to sleepwalk, and if I did, my luck, I would fall onto something and wake up the whole house. But if anyone knows what happened to me, please tell me. One time when I was young, me and my cousin were visiting my great-grandparents' house in Pike County, Kentucky. My great-grandparents live in an old 2-story house that to me looks a little creepy. Anyway, while we were all eating dinner, my great-grandpa told us about how many years ago, when they first bought the house, they had some paranormal experiences. For example, when my great-grandma was unpacking, she saw someone move across the room out of the corner of her eye. She thought that it was my great-grandpa, so she called out to him. He didn't answer. My great-grandpa got a little worried, and just then, my great-grandpa came through the front door. He was outside the whole time. The strangest thing he told my cousin and me was how one night the ceiling in that room actually dripped blood. After about 30 minutes, it stopped. My great-grandpa told the neighbors about the strange occurrences, and they said that the people that lived in the house before them moved out because they claimed it was haunted. After the story, my cousin and me were kind of spooked. When we were done eating, we went up to the attic, and my great-grandparents always told us never to go up there. We were just messing around, going through old trunks and looking at some really old pictures, when we both heard someone sobbing. My cousin shined her flashlight over to where she heard the sobbing. It was coming from behind an old mirror. I said, "Is anybody there?" hoping I wouldn't get an answer. After a few moments, a figure stepped out from behind the mirror. It was a pale woman in a wedding gown. Now that I think about it, I don't think she was trying to scare us. But being about 10 years old, my cousin and I wasted no time running out of the attic as fast as we could. It was a very scary moment, and I can't help but wonder if the ghost was trying to tell us something or not. I have not had much contact with the spirit world until I moved into an old farmhouse in Scottsville, Kentucky. Everyone told me before I moved in that there was something wrong with the house and that everyone who lived there had reported strange happenings of seeing a black-like shadow lurking around in the house, and when you slept, it would touch you. I shrugged it off as nothing until one night I was laying in bed and I felt something twitching in my hair. I thought it was just a moth that flew in because I had the window open as it was very hot. I swatted at my hair and my hand was immediately slapped. I woke up and thought I was having a nightmare. I went to the bathroom and sure enough, it appeared right before my eyes and floated right in front of me. After maybe about 30 seconds, it went into the wall. It would annoy the crap out of me by taking the form of my sister's cat, who would always try to jump up on the DirecTV receiver because it knew that cat annoyed me. I thought it would stop once I left the house, but it followed me to the house I live in now, and it's new. I just don't know what to do anymore. If anyone is or has any experiences such as this, could you give me some advice on how to make it leave? I'm 19 years of age as of writing this, and I've been an atheist and skeptic since grade 7. I've never believed in ghosts, and have always considered the stories of such to be embellished fabrications, or just hallucinations brought on by alcohol, medication, or carbon monoxide leaks or something of the sort. But as of 3 weeks ago, I'm convinced. I've been wrong about the afterlife all along. I've always had this weird fear of the dark. When I steal away to the downstairs kitchen for a snack in the middle of the night, I either leave the kitchen light on as I head back up the stairs or turn it off and book it up the stairs and rush into my room and close the door behind me. I don't know why I do this. I never really believed in the supernatural. I'm just a pansy, I guess. But occasionally I'll challenge myself to turn the light off and then walk up the stairs at a normal, more civilized pace. The few times I had done this, until a few weeks ago, it had been successful, but never reassured my awkward tendencies. 3 weeks ago, I was watching movies on my laptop in my bedroom and needed a refill on pretzels. So I went to the kitchen and filled up a bowl and grabbed a cup of Crystal Light as well. I then turned off the kitchen light and started walking up the stairs. My stairs make a T shape, whereas the top of the T leads to either the kitchen or the front hallway, depending on which way you take. And the bottom leads up the stairs to an intersection of rooms and a bathroom. Right as I left the top part of the T and had made it up 2 steps of the straightaway, I felt my ankle being forcefully grabbed. I looked back and saw nothing, but I could not jerk my ankle forward for a few seconds. I finally broke free and booked it up to my room and shut the door. I was freaking out, and it took me a moment to reach for my light switch to flip it on. Upon moving it, I realized that I turned the light out by pulling the string hanging from the ceiling fan. When I turned on the light, I saw a black, smoky substance flutter around for nearly a second and then disappear from my vision. I don't know what brought this on, and I'm not entirely convinced that it was anything supernatural. I could have just been hallucinating for some reason. But now I never get midnight snacks. I guess I'm practically dieting now. I'd like to hear your opinions on this. Thanks for reading. What you're about to read might disturb you. This event started 3 years ago, back in the summer of 2006. I have no idea what triggered the events, but I will tell you that this story is real. In the month of July, my mom started to leave the door open that led to the downstairs. She left the door open because it was hot upstairs and the basement had much cooler air at the time. One night my dad dropped me off to my mom's house. As my mother let me in the house, I looked at the door that led downstairs and I saw that my mom had not completely shut the door. The door was still slightly open. She hugged me and went to her room. I looked downstairs and listened closely to see or hear if there was someone or something down there. And I started to hear something growl. The growl sounded something similar to a big dog's growl, but for some reason, I could just tell that it was not the growl of a normal animal. After I heard the growling noise, I felt a threatening presence, so I turned the light off and shut the door all the way. I did not remind my mom or my brother because they would have just said that I was hearing things or hallucinating. Near the end of July, I woke up and my mom and my brothers were asleep. I decided to go check the downstairs again. All of the lights in the house were turned off as I walked down the hallway towards the door that led to the downstairs. I saw my mom had completely left the door open this time around. So I looked downstairs, but I did not go down there. It was very dark downstairs. As I was looking towards the bottom of the stairs, I saw an indescribable, disturbing monstrous figure at the very end of the bottom of the stairs. The monster was transparent but mostly invisible. And it was also very gas or smoke-like in appearance, and it looked extremely disformed. Numerous tiny lights sparkled from this thing, which I believe were the eyes. I also saw what looked like a deformed head or numerous deformed heads and a gigantic claw for hands. I thought that I was just hallucinating at first. I wasn't. I was just standing there in the dark of the downstairs as if it were looking at me. It was so huge and wide looking at that I could not describe its height. But it was also very dark downstairs. When I saw this thing, I was too scared to even just take one step down there. As I looked at this unimaginable sight, I felt a great threatening presence, and I felt like something was warning me not to go down there. I believe this thing was warning me to back off and not go down there. So I left the door completely open, and I went to my mother's room to lay down in her bed for a while, as I was still awake. I left the door open because I was too scared and disturbed to close it. I also felt like I was being warned not to close the door. I also did not want to provoke this thing, and I knew that physical objects are no barrier to spiritual beings. So closing the door probably would have made my situation a little worse. After a while, I heard running footsteps and the sound of equipment or armor. It kept running and then stopping repeatedly. The sounds got closer and closer as this thing was about to run all the way upstairs. My mom and brother were deep asleep while I was still awake. My heart was racing and pounding with fear and threat as I was laying there in the bed with my mom. As the sound got closer, the feeling of fear and threat got closer. I also felt helpless. I knew that if I had woken up my mom or brother up, they would not have believed me or believed what was going on. They would have just ignored me. I heard these sounds about 5 or 6 times and then it stopped. And for the rest of that morning, nothing happened. A few weeks later, my brother went to college and me and my mom moved out of the apartment into a different city. But before we moved out of the house, I started smelling these extremely vile odors in the house. They were by far the most horrible odors I had ever smelled in my entire life. The odor was similar to the smell of feces, but something far worse than any natural odor or animal odor that you can think of. Ghouls, it was brought to my attention that I missed Kentucky. Oh my god. So I had to go back and I did Kentucky. I apologize to all of you from Kentucky. I do. And if you hear like things in the background, it's because it is now like 10 o'clock at night and I'm drying my clothes because I forgot they were in the washer. Yay, failing at adulting. But I had to get Kentucky in because someone commented, "Did you forget Kentucky?" I was like, fuck, I did forget Kentucky. So I apologize so much. So I hope this makes up for it. And chill stream this Saturday. Tomorrow, it's going to be so fun. I hope. I hope to see you ghouls there. Let's see. Secret word of the day will be laundry, since that's what I'm doing. And I'm sure you can hear it in the background, and I'm too lazy to get up and turn it off. So you're going to have to deal with it, ghouls. Laundry. Use that in the comments. It's going to be interesting. But as always, my last video will be on the top left, my next video will be on the bottom left. All my social medias are on the screen, as well as in the description box below. And remember, there's always someone or something watching you.